The I Love Marketing model is a visual interactive technique to master Marketing 101. This is the 21st century edition of the I Love Marketing model, and this is Bong De Ungria of the Ateneo Graduate School of Business. This model was created to help students understand what are the key marketing concepts and how they relate to one another. There's a lot of images and stories used, and that will make it easier to remember these concepts. Furthermore, the model has been updated to 21st century strategic marketing realities. The basic concepts can be found in widely read textbooks written by Philip Kotler, Josiah Go, and many other famous authors. If there's a contribution from me, it's putting all these concepts together so that it's easier to remember. Of course, there are limitations to what has been done, but if you remember and love marketing after this presentation, then guess what? You've been infected. There are 6 parts to this love story. The first 2 explain why do we use models, why this I Love Marketing model, and why are there a lot of images in the model. First, why models? The easiest model to relate to is the traffic light. The traffic light gives us directions as far as traffic is concerned and gives a standard by which many people all around the world understand easily and quickly. So, universally, red means stop, green means go, and yellow, well, it can mean caution to many people, but in other situations, yellow means go faster. Nevertheless, despite the limitations of this model, this can literally stop, a traffic light can literally stop thousands of vehicles in fast highways just with a change in color. And this is possible only because the traffic light model and system is easy to understand, remember, and because it's a model that works. So models provide good reference points for quick, valid decisions. They are commonly understood, but you know there are limitations. In our case, the yellow means different for different people for different times of the day. So models are useful, but they are also limited. So why do we now use images? One of the key concepts of marketing is that marketing and everything else is really a battle for the share of mind. And for the mind remembers only pictures. Okay? Whether it's your car, your bedroom, or life as it happens to you. So, for example, think of your bedroom. If you close your eyes, think of your bedroom, and I ask you to describe how your bedroom looks. It's relatively easy to remember because you can pronounce it from memory. No problem. But do you know that you can actually instantly remember also your bedroom from 5 or 10 years ago? That is how strong that memory of the bedroom is because the memory of your bedroom is in image format. It is not in text format where it says it's a 3 by 5 meter room with a blue curtain, with a cabinet on the right side. No, if that is the way your mind remembers your bedroom from 5 or 10 years ago, you probably won't remember. But how can you remember? It is because your bedroom from 5 years ago you remember as a picture or an image. So, really, if the objective is to help people remember, only images work. And that is why this Marketing 101 model, this I love marketing model is full of images to help us remember. So, what are the key concepts that are useful to remember for marketing? First, the definition of marketing. We can find a lot of definitions out there, but the one I like the most is this one. So, marketing is a system of profitably, and the logo or the image that you see of an arrow symbolizes the system, and profit is the dollar sign. So hopefully in this, at least in this model, once you see that picture or image, you will be reminded of system and profitably. Okay, so that's the first part. Marketing is a system of profitably creating, and the symbol is a factory, communicating, and this is a person symbol with a bullhorn, communicating and delivering value, and that's represented by the UPS delivery truck, to what? To satisfy customers' needs, wants, and demands. The three things represented by the pyramid: needs, wants, and demands, and the customer being this person pushing a grocery cart and doing that better than competition. And what is a better symbol for competition than the Olympics, the ultimate competition? So, how do we illustrate needs, wants, and demands? Okay, so let's use food for example. Need is something that is basic, that you will feel deprived if this is absent. Want is, given choices, this is what you prefer. So if the need is food, then you can choose chicken, burger, steak, sandwiches. So these are all choices to satisfy the need, which is food. And demand is a want that is supported by a decision and a capacity to buy. So while you may have many wants, you eventually choose a burger, for example, because that is within your budget and that is something you can buy easily. Okay, so for the need that you have, which is food, you have many wants you can choose from, but your ultimate want that is purchased and accessed will be the demand. For the needs, we marketing usually refers to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There are 5 levels: physiological, safety, social, esteem, and self-actualization. This has been there since the 1950s, and surprise, surprise, these needs have not changed. No new need has been added or deleted in this Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If there's a change, maybe there's a change for millennial. What's more basic than food and water for a millennial? Is there? Well, according to some, Wi-Fi is even more basic than shelter, water, or food. Because as soon as a millennial enters a new place, the first question is, what's the Wi-Fi password? Okay, there's this urgent need, more urgent than food and water, to get connected to Wi-Fi. But is that a real need? Not really, because if you look at it, Wi-Fi is in the same class as social needs for general connection, safety needs if you want to address a safety concern. So Wi-Fi is just another way of expressing or satisfying, no, it's just another type of need which used to be just social or safety. So if you go further, what is more basic than Wi-Fi? Well, after 2 hours, more basic need than Wi-Fi, they say, is battery. Okay, because without battery, your phone is down and you get Wi-Fi will be useless. They say also that man has evolved over time, and you will see the progression from, again, thousands of years ago to now a man walking with a cell phone in hand. That has been the only changes in man's needs. Of course, you know that this is not true, but going back to more serious matters, let us look at how we can visually represent the difference or similarity between needs, wants, and demands. Well, if we are to put it figuratively, it can look like this. On the top is your needs, which is a pyramid. The wants are much better, so it's larger because wants are all the choices you can do to answer a need. No? So there are more ways to answer the same need with wants, which is why wants are larger. And the marketing discipline is to focus on satisfying demand. Now, in this figure, demands are much smaller than wants. No? Not all the wants can be supported with action as far as purchase or access, which is why demands are smaller. And demands, in summary, is wants plus a purchase capability. Now, what's the difference in demand? And again, marketing is most interested in satisfying the demand. There is a difference, and that is related to what we call the socio-economic class or the SEC. In the Philippines, there are three basic classes: AB, which represents 1% of the population, Class C, which is 14% of the population, and DE, which is 85% of the population. Now, again, just to emphasize the similarity or the difference, if you look at AB, they can literally buy all of their needs, or figuratively buy all of their needs. But if you go to DE, their demand or their purchase capability is smaller than all their needs, and therefore they have to choose or prioritize which needs to satisfy. So that's the inequality as far as the capability to purchase. And again, if marketing satisfies the demand, does it satisfy the want? Yes, because the demand is a want that was purchased, and if it was a want, did we satisfy the need? Yes, because the want is one of the many answers to a need. Now, just a little more elaboration on the effect of income. This has been quite a long time ago. In 2007, based on a TNS study, socioeconomic classification was divided into these classes. AAA means that the total household monthly income, meaning the income of the father, the mother, and the other um, household members exceeds 300,000 a month, then you're considered to be class AAA. On the other extreme, if the total household income does not exceed 10,000, then that household is classified as class E. Now, that's one way of determining socioeconomic class. The limitation of this is that many people won't want to reveal their income during a survey. So there are other factors which are considered when doing the statistical survey and determining the SEC class of the household being surveyed. So they look at other factors such as location, durability of the house, maintenance, ownership, and by the answers to this question, the surveyor can classify the household into any of these SEC classes. Okay, so for instance, if you're living in Alabang, inside Alabang, then even without asking the income, you'd probably guess, okay, this household is class AAA. If it's living in a slum area in Tondo or elsewhere, then you can, again, based on these other factors, classify the household as either E or D. There's one tip though to remember these classes. Once upon a time, I used to remember this through the Philippine peso bills. So the 10 peso bill, the 20, the 50, the 100. Of course, we don't have the 150 and 300, but remembering the B to D is enough reason for you to consider, okay, the, the classes can easily be remembered to the relation to the Philippine peso bills. Now, by itself, these SEC classes don't reveal too much. But if we look at the total population, cross-reference with population data, the population is 1% AB, 14% C, and 85% DE. This is based on one of the Philippine Statistic Authorities or the PSA's surveys. We can expand this to relate the income, the number of people with the income, and based on a population, we transform this to the number of families. And doing all of these mathematical calculations, we can then picture true market size and demand. Okay, so applying all of those, Class AAA earning more than 300,000 a month in the entire Philippines, that's about 15,000 families spending on a monthly basis an average of 400,000 pesos. And multiplying the number of families by the buying power gives you their monthly buying power in billions of pesos. And you can do that with each of the classes to conclude with a total buying power of 253 billion, representing 100%. Now, what do you notice here? Well, we can summarize the bottom line that Class AB is actually 1% of the population, but they account for 11% of the demand. On the other hand, Class DE is 85% of the population, but only comprise 52% of the demand. So what's the insight here? Well, the AB market is small but very attractive. They are able to purchase 10 times their number as opposed to Class DE, where they are, of course, consume or demand relatively less. And in fact, some products are cheaper to market when it's limited to just A and the AAA market. Think of a Lexus car or a house in or a condominium. You don't high-end condominium. You don't try to sell it to CDE because then it will take a lot of time, effort, and it will not be worth the expense because they can't buy it anyway. The third insight is the middle class is a source of critical mass for most products. So that's why Class C is often lumped with the ABC or lumped with the CDE because this is a source of critical mass for some products. The last insight is the middle class needs to grow. A lot more DEs should grow to C for the economy to really improve. Those are the realities as far as SEC and demand is concerned. Pop quiz. Based on our definition, can technology or marketing create a need? Second question, do customers buy based on need or buy based on want? For the first question, no. The need will always be there. Marketing cannot create it, but technology and marketing allows the need to be addressed in a different way. If you remember the Wi-Fi example, it's just a different way of answering the physiological or the safety need? Second, do customers buy based on need or want? The answer is they buy based on want. Because if you look at it, how many shoes do you have? And how many shoes do you need? Universally, you will find that people will have far more than what they need. And the reason for that is because they want it. No? For a male adult will probably need only 3 or 4 pairs of shoes: a black shoe, a brown shoe, office shoe, a rubber shoes. But how many do they have? Much more than that. And that's speaking about the male adult. Think about the female segment of the population, and you will agree that they have more than what they need. And it's because they just want it. Okay? So again, marketing cannot create a need, but it's good also to know that people buy based on what they want, and if they buy it, then it's considered a demand. Now, going back to the definition of marketing, if you recall the definition of marketing, the reason why it works so well is because it considers the three strategic C's of marketing. The first C is the customer is not always right. What? You've probably heard the saying the customer is always right so many times it's become a cliche. But truly in marketing, the customer is not always right. Why do we say that? Well, think of an item, a phone, an expensive phone, say an iPhone. Okay? You know the price of an iPhone is 60,000. That's the cost plus markup plus all the other expenses. That's why Apple is selling it at 60,000. Imagine asking customers what is the right price for this iPhone. People will say, "Oh, it's 20,000 or 30,000 or 5,000 in 5 gives." And if you say the customer is always right, then you would have to sell it at that price. But we can't. Why is that? Because we are obligated to listen to the customers, but we don't have to follow everything they say. The reason for this is the company must be in business for the long term. To be able to serve the customer really well, the company should make decisions that allow it to be in business for the long term. Again, we go back to the iPhone example. If the real price is 60,000, but the company, Apple, decides to follow all customers and sell it at 20,000 average, then it can have a lot of customers. The customer is right, but tomorrow or next week or next month, the company closes. And if it closes, then it will fail to serve its customer. And that ain't right. So the company should always consider decisions that will allow it to be in business for the long term. What's the third C in our definition of marketing? It's competition. And we have to benchmark our performance as a company versus competition. Now, what do you notice in this slide? You will notice that we have the customer. This is communicating, creating, and delivering value, and this is competition. And we remember these three C's through the three images in our model. Now, the other thing with the three strategic C's is they correspond to three key result areas. Okay. First, how do we know if we're satisfying the customers? Think about it. How do you know if your customers are satisfied? Do you ask them? Do a survey? Well, the true test of customer satisfaction is not the sale, it's actually repeat sales. There's a Chinese proverb that says, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me." And that proverb is so relevant because customers can be enticed or hooked or hoodwinked to buy a first time. Okay? In that first time, then if it's a faulty or misleading product, then the fault is with the company for misleading the customer. But if the customer buys again that same product, then either the customer is a fool if he was not happy the first time, or it's the clearest show or demonstration that the customer was happy and satisfied the first time. Again, the true test of customer satisfaction is the repeat sale. So, how do you know that the company is also achieving its key result area? The one parameter that shows this is profits. Again, because the company wants to be in business for the long term, it should have a system of having that profit consistently. The third C is competition. And the KPI or the KRA of being better than competition is market share. The bigger your market share versus your competition is a clear indicator that you're addressing the needs of the market better than your competitors. Now, when is there a market opportunity? This brings us to our I love marketing model, and we put at the model the bottom the customer, the competition, and the company. There is a market opportunity when a gap exists for the customer's needs, wants, and demands between what the company can supply and what competition offers. Again, there is a gap when this fellow needs something, the company can deliver that need, want, and demand better than competition. So, three things have to happen: something about the customer, the company being able to do it better than competition. If one of those three elements is missing, then there's no market opportunity. When there is a market opportunity, there are four steps that need to be done. First is to size the total market. We should be able to verify that the market is big enough to matter and small enough to handle. I'm often reminded of one of my students from the past who had a fantastic marketing plan on paper. Um, he was proposing that he will resign his corporate job, go back to the province, set up a school, and he will be number one in a year's time because he has such an awesome marketing plan to capture 80% market share. And to do that, he was proposing to do advertising, digital marketing, all of that stuff, and it will cost him 10 million a year to do that. The simple question that was meant to validate his plan was, okay, if you were successful, how many students will enroll in your school? Okay, after some thought, he said, well, if I get all the people in this barangay and some of the people in the other barangay, representing 80% of the population of students, then probably I'll get 1,000 employees. Well, that's good, but no, 1,000 students. Well, number of people is not demand. Demand is expressed in terms of pesos. So the follow-up question was, how much will each of the students pay for a year's tuition? And he said, well, because the town where I'm from is not very rich, well, they can probably pay 3,000 a year in tuition. And that is already way expensive because there's a public school which charges zero tuition. Okay, so you will have 1,000 students paying 3,000 a year. How much is your revenue? And you realize that he was proposing a 10 million expense when the size of the market is around 3 million or more, because 3 million represents 80% of the total market already. Okay, this is why knowing the total market size is important for you to know and validate that it's big enough to matter. Yeah, it's interesting enough, but it's small enough for you to handle. After doing the first step, the second step is to divide the market into segments. Okay, each segment is a group of people with similar needs, wants, and demands. Why is segmentation important? Because if people have similar needs, wants, and demands, then probably there's a high probability that the way to answer these needs, wants, and demands will be the same for this group of people. Okay, or what we call segments. Why do we need to focus resources? It's because the company has limited resources. So, of the many segments which a company can address, it should choose its primary target market to focus those limited resources in addressing this target market. And the fourth step is to use positioning, your four P's of the marketing mix, to hit your primary target market. So it's really, if you look at steps 2, 3, and 4, it's segment, target, position, it's STP or stop. And you have to stop before you do anything. Okay? Before you address a market opportunity, you should stop. Of course, there's another way to remember STP. It's similar to ready, aim, fire. Okay? Imagine a soldier not aiming or not getting ready and firing all the time, then in a very short period of time, he will run out of ammunition and he will also expose himself to attacks by the competition. So it's important to do STP, but in this model, we are saying sizing the market is a precedent, is a necessary precursor to segmentation. Another way to visually represent this is this way. So first, in addressing market opportunities, is the market size small enough to handle? Or is it big enough to matter? Again, divide the market into segments. Each segment will have similar needs, wants, and demands, and now the discipline is to choose which segment you will target. In one of previous talks presented by Smart in the Ateneo, they shared their wireless market segmentation strategy. So at the bottom is the SEC class A, B, C1, C2, D, and E. And on the vertical is the age. So again, the portion on the left is AB, the portion on the right is class E. And during this presentation, we can easily see that Smart Kid, their offering is for this age up to class C2. Talk and Text, which addresses a larger population of the market, but it's a market concentrated on DE and the older ones. No? So Talk and Text for the DE and for the older ones, and Smart Kid or Smart Buddy for the different combinations of age and socioeconomic class. So you have to choose which of the segments will become your primary target market, and it's important to choose so that you can aim for that segment and communicate your positioning and hit that target all the time. Now, you've heard about the four P's, and visually, the four P's can be seen as the four directional feathers of a dart hitting a target. Okay, you can adjust each of the four P's of product, promo, place, and price to hit different targets, different target markets. Some target markets require emphasis on promotions and products. Some other target markets require a heavy price mix. And you may want or be required to adjust your marketing mix over time. Okay? Because you have to remember that it's not only you trying to hit that primary target market. Your competitors are also aiming for that same target market. Another visual representation to help us remember the four P's in the marketing mix is through these four symbols. Okay, product represented by a cell phone, an iPhone. Price shown is money and coins. Promotion is the offers, the discount offers, and the time bounded offers. And place is where you can purchase it. So this is symbol of the buildings. Why are these symbols important? Because now we can show visually that certain target markets require a low price approach, where the emphasis in the marketing mix is on price. On the other hand, some other target markets require an emphasis on the product, which is another excellent strategy for some product categories. Some other categories require heavy emphasis on promotions. Okay, so never mind if it's not the best product, not the cheapest product, but if it has the best promotion for some products, this is the winner, the game changer. We also need to emphasize that the four P's were just selected: product, price, promotion, and place, just so it's easier to remember and refer to. But when we say product, we actually refer to a lot more other things. It's about the variety, the quality, design, feature, packaging, even the warranties and returns are technically part of the product offering. On the other hand, price is not just the price you see on the shelf, it includes discount, allowances, payment period, and even credit terms. Promotion we'll discuss separately in the next few slides, but place is about the channel, coverage, assortments, location, inventory, and transport. So, what how can we better explain promotion? Because among the four P's, this is the one that's kind of confusing. So, in integrated marketing communication, there are two general types of communication. There's mass communication, where an identified sponsor speaks to a lot of people at the same time, and there are four types of mass promotion. Okay, sales promotion, advertising, public relations, events, and experiences. As differentiated from mass marketing, personal marketing feels like it's just you being talked to. And there are four modes of personal communication: direct marketing, interactive marketing, personal selling, and word of mouth. Now, for mass communications, let's look at the first one: sales promotion. Sales promotion wants you to buy now, not tomorrow, because tomorrow competition may come. So, sales promotion is designed for you to buy now. How about advertising? Advertising objective is to answer your question: why buy? Why this brand? Why now? Okay, that's generally the direction for advertising, is to inform you and persuade you to buy from this brand or this company. The third mass communication, which is public relations, is the great alibi. It's not directly related to the sale. It can be the golf tournament, the medical mission, the support for a specific activity, which don't directly translate to a sale, but they in fact build goodwill for the brand, so that at a future time that goodwill can help in the sale or in the image of the company. So it's the alibi. Okay. And then the last communication mode, which is events and experiences, are designed to buy memories. Okay. So these are the four mass communication modes and the reason they are there for the buying process. Okay. Now, events and experiences, sometimes if you go to a concert or a event like a school happening, sponsors there would want to be there because you will remember the event, and by relation, the sponsors to that event. So think of a concert sponsored by Close Up. You will enjoy the concert, but you will then correlate the sponsor of that concert, in this case Close Up, with whatever happened in that. And you extend the impact of that advertising, of that communication, way, way beyond the actual concert itself. Now we go to the four personal communication modes. Direct marketing is when we buy or respond to a call, to mail, or to a catalog. That's the traditional direct response. No? So there's communication through call, mail, or catalog, and you respond to that. That's what we call direct marketing. Interactive marketing is technology enabled because instead of a call, it's a text. Instead of mail, it's email. Instead of looking through a catalog, it's browsing through a website or through an app. Personal selling is the one on one buy. So one person, one salesperson selling to one customer, that's personal selling. And the fourth personal communication mode, word of mouth, you buy because your friends bought. Okay. So there's a lot of products now that are sold not because of the brand's advertisement, but because of the positive word of mouth from friends of the customer. Now, when we communicate, the most important is benefit. What's the benefits? Benefits are to the customer, what's in it for me? Why should I care? Okay. Now, the common mistake is sellers or marketers sell based on features or specs. In this case, this salesman is selling the house and is concentrated on selling the features or specifications of the house. More important than features are advantages. What do the specs do? So if it's a house with air conditioner or with trees that cover most of the area, then the benefit is a cooler environment that's conducive to family gatherings. That's an advantage. But the benefit is, again, what's in it for me? Again, when we communicate, the most important thing is benefit. Another example is I used to just rely on PowerPoint presentations. Why? The advantage is it's easier to understand. The benefit is there's more learning for all. Now, even this is being superseded because, yes, PowerPoints can be good and better, but now video allows learning to happen even without the speaker right there at the same time as the student is viewing it. So there's more learning if you go beyond PowerPoint and go to video, just like this video. Another example of features, advantages, and benefits is as far as phone landlines are concerned. Now, what's the feature? Well, new cell phones are wireless, small, affordable, long battery life, lightweight. Now, you may not remember that once upon a time, phone units were very expensive. Only doctors and rich businessmen can afford it. The batteries were huge. It's hard to carry around. And the subscription was very expensive. Okay. But now, cell phones are again wireless, small, affordable, easy to carry around. What's the advantage of all these features? Well, at one point in time, a study showed that 75 million Filipinos always carry a cell phone around. That's the advantage of a cell phone. But what's the benefit? The benefit is it's easier to keep in touch with the right person anytime, all the time, if you call them on their cell phone. When you call them on a landline, well, you're not sure if that person will answer, who will answer, or whether it's really true that nobody is answering. Okay, so yes, the number of landline requirements is shrinking to probably a value that will not grow any significantly greater than the population increase. So it's really decreasing to that number, while cell phones having that advantage are now taking over what landlines used to service. So when there's an opportunity, what does the company need to consider? There are five factors. First, is the opportunity aligned with the vision and mission of the company? Now, in an example, you will see that people can see this as trees, but actually these are part of a larger vision, and it can be this. No? So vision is taking a step back from the trees to see the forest. Instead of seeing just the trees, you see the forest. The only difference here is perspective. What's the difference between vision and mission? Vision is what you dream to be. Mission is what your current business is. Let's apply it to the Ateneo. This is the vision of the AGSB, to be the leading management educational institution in the Asia Pacific region for the business practitioner seeking to become a professional and ethical business leader committed to nation building. That is the vision, what the school dreams to be. But the mission, an excerpt from the mission, is this: we believe that expertise without integrity, and so on. But if you translate this, it's just saying that AGSB graduates should have integrity, expertise, and service. So again, let's go back to the five factors when analyzing opportunities. You analyze the vision and mission of the company. Are they aligned with the marketing opportunity? Can you see the goals and objectives of the company? Are they aligned with the market opportunity? The fourth one is business portfolio. These are the range of products and resources the company currently uses or has. Again, is the opportunity aligned with the business portfolio? And lastly, does the company is the company capable of deploying strategies and tactics that will allow it to take advantage of the opportunities? So, meaning if there is an opportunity, it's not necessarily grab it if it's there. You have to see the alignment to these five company factors. Now, if you consider five factors within the company, then you also consider five factors as far as competition is concerned. What are the five factors when analyzing opportunities versus competition? These are related to Porter's five forces model or the industry threats. There are some opportunities where you have very powerful suppliers or powerful customers, or the barriers to entry are so high, or the barriers to exit make it hard to get out of it. Another factor is there might be substitutes to what you can offer, and always be aware that once you do something, there will be competitive reaction. Let's take, for example, the airline industry. Who are the powerful suppliers for airlines? Well, the airplane manufacturers, because they are so few, they can dictate the price, the terms for purchasing a necessary tool of the airline industry, which is an airplane. Okay. Well, that's one example, airplane industry. What other industry can you think of where there are powerful suppliers? Telcos, right? There are only three telcos now, or now two, in the Philippines. And if you're dissatisfied with one, you transfer to another. If you transfer to that, there's nobody else to go to. So, in the sense, the telcos are very powerful suppliers because you have limited choices. Okay. Now, in some industries, it's the customers who have the power. They're so powerful that they can dictate the terms for all their suppliers. So, what do you think? Can you think of a industry where you have very powerful customers? Well, if you're serving the pharmaceutical industry, then mercury mercury drug could be considered a very powerful customer because again, they will account for what 20-30% of the total volume, and you have to agree to their terms and conditions for them to allow you into their system. Same goes with Schumart, SM department store. For suppliers of goods that sell in a department store, they have to look at SM to be a very powerful customer that they can really get so much out of in terms of negotiations because they will dictate how and when and what products will be sold. So, in that sense, the opportunity becomes less attractive if you have very powerful customers. Now, some industries have huge barriers to entry. No, it's not just about capex or capital. Sometimes it's just the right to enter. What's current, for example, is ABS-CBN and the legislative, legislative requirement of having a franchise to be able to come in. So even if they have all the talent, all the content, all the money, without that franchise, they cannot enter. The other end of barrier to entry is a barrier to exit. Okay. Um, Today, with the pandemic, many retail outlets want to close because there's not enough sales coming in, but they can't. Why? Because pre-terminating the lease contracts may mean larger penalties for them than just continue operating at a loss. So there's a barrier to exit. Okay, either it's because there's contract penalties for pre-termination, or if they do pull out and it's allowed, where do they bring all their equipment and their inventory? Okay, so there's a huge barrier to exiting certain opportunities. Substitution happens when it's not just your product, but other products can satisfy the same need. And if that happens, if you decide to do something, it's not automatic that the consumer will accept that you're the only answer. You may be substituted, and that substitute may be a direct or indirect equivalent of your product. But the greater the substitutability of your product, then the less attractive an opportunity is. Lastly, competitive reaction happens has to be considered because once you do something, for instance, to reduce your price, don't expect the competition to just sit there. They will react and expect that reaction. And for certain industries, reactions are fast, swift, and massive. And if you can't sustain that effort on your part, then they can easily copy or supersede what you've started in the first place. So beware of these five forces when you try to address and evaluate opportunities. Now we go to the customer. What does the customer have to consider when evaluating opportunities? The customer should look at needs, wants, and demands and know if it can be better met by the company, where the company is able to communicate and deliver those benefits better than competition. Having considered all of this as far as addressing opportunities are concerned, what else do you consider? You consider the environment. Now, in the environment, you have an internal and external, and if it's a positive within the company's full control, then it's considered internal and the strength. If it's positive but beyond the company's control, then it's an opportunity. On the negative side, it's weakness and threat. Okay, so the symbol for strength and weakness is the barbell, and for opportunities and threats is a clock, no? OT for overtime. Now, it may seem that marketing seems to be very complicated. In the end, there are only three generic winning strategies in marketing. First, you achieve overall cost leadership. Be the lowest price because you have the lowest cost. And if you can do that and achieve cost leadership, then that's one way to being victorious in the marketplace. But sadly, there's only one or two or three companies or brands that can achieve this overall cost leadership. What about the others? If you can be the overall cost leader, then the second option is to be different through differentiation. Do something different relative to the customer's needs, wants, and demands, and hopefully that is better than what competition can do. The third generic winning strategy is to just focus on a very small segment or niche. If it's a very narrow and small segment, we call it a niche, and just focus on the niche. Let us go quickly on each of these strategies. So if you're the overall cost leader and you're the lowest cost producer, you can choose to sell at the lowest price. If you do that, you can sell at the same price, but since your price is lower, you get more profit. Again, the only disadvantage is only one or two or three companies can be lowest cost. So not all companies have this option to win in the marketplace. Most companies can differentiate. They can be different as far as the added value they put in, and it should be value that is important and relevant to the customer. Don't put something that is not valuable to the customer. And that's how we differentiate. The third way is to focus. Be the absolute best in a very narrow segment or niche. Okay? So if the others sell burgers or chicken, go to be the best pizza seller in a narrower segment. If you can't be the number one student in the entire school, then be the number one student at least in the class. Now, if that's still tough, be the number one student in class on the first row. Okay, so that may be more manageable. But again, select a niche, which is a very narrow segment where you can be the absolute best. And many companies also are niche players. They don't sell everything, but on the things they do sell, they're absolutely the best. And the best doesn't just refer to product quality, it's the best at a certain marketing mix combination. So now we looked at all the concepts we discussed in one visual framework. Altogether now, the I love marketing model is easily remembered because at the center is the heart. And we said there are three strategic C's. The first C is the customer, the second C is the company, and the company creates, communicates, and delivers value. And the third C is competition. So there are always three sides to every consideration represented by the three C's. For the customers, we meet needs, wants, and demands. The way we know we're satisfying the customer is if we get repeat sales. That's the only true test of customer satisfaction. For the company, the KRA is profits, and it should be consistent profits. There should be a system to deliver those profits over time, all the time, or most of the time. And the third C, which is competition, you know if you're doing well if you have market share. So this is the three C's and the three KRAs, and this also illustrates our operational definition of marketing. What's marketing? It's a system of profitably creating, communicating, and delivering value to satisfy customers' needs, wants, and demands better than competition. Now, when is there a market opportunity? There is a market opportunity if there's something that the customer needs, wants, and demands, the company can offer better than competition. Okay? So again, those three elements should be present, and if they're present, what should you do? You should size the market, determine if it's big enough to matter and small enough to handle. You should divide the market into segments, each segment consisting of a group of people with similar needs, wants, and demands. Choose among these segments which will be your primary target market. You support your aim by using your 4Ps to hit your target, and this is product, promo, place, and price. To hit the bullseye, you should communicate using benefits. And in communication, there are 8 modes: no? Mass and personal. Mass meaning advertising, sales promotions, PR, events and experiences. And for personal communication, it's direct marketing, interactive selling, personal selling, and word of mouth. Now, if there's a market opportunity, there are 5 considerations as far as the company is concerned. And this visual is close to the company because these are the 5 considerations when evaluating opportunities: vision, mission, goals and objectives, business portfolio, strategies, and tactics. There are also 5 things to look out for when considering competition. These are the power of suppliers, power of buyers, entry barriers, substitution, and threat of competitive reaction. Now, outside the 3 C's, there are other things which you need to consider. If it's internal to the company, it's a strength or weakness. If it's external, it's opportunities and threats. In the end, there are just 3 generic winning strategies to consider: low cost, differentiation, and focus. This is the I Love Marketing Model, the 21st century edition. Having mentioned it's the 21st century, there are 21st century realities which we can consider. These are: is it the same now in the 21st century? Our answer is it's the same difference. Why is that? Well, there are 5 things that are the same in the 21st century. Marketing is still important to business success. It's about understanding and meeting needs, meeting these needs profitably, managing demand, and use for 10 entities. That is the same now and what it was many years ago. What is different is 21st century marketing has seen changes in the three strategic C's. Instead of just marketing mix, it's now stopping with brands. It's about being holistic, involving everybody, and accomplishing 7 tasks. So there are 5 things that have remained the same for 21st century marketing. It's still about delivering top line growth, creating, communicating, and delivering value so that customers retain and become loyal, and we have repeat sales for the company. What's also the same is the needs have not changed. Nothing's been added or deleted. Okay, needs are still basic universal human requirements, and there are 5 types of needs. No, they're not new needs, just type of needs: stated, unstated, real, delight, or secret. Marketing still is about meeting demands, and again, if you meet demands, you're meeting needs also. That's still the same. And what's still the same is everything is marketed: goods, services, experiences, persons, places, properties, organizations, information, and ideas. This has always been the case, and this continues on to the 21st century. What has changed in the 21st century? Well, competition has increased because of so many things happening: globalization, technology, deregulation, privatization, more competition, industry convergence, consumer resistance, and retail transformation. All of this have resulted to the disappearance of economic boundaries. Goods, money, information can easily go from one part of the globe to the other because now the boundaries for economies are not there because of globalization and technology. The need for brick and mortar stores are now much less than what it was before because people can buy online and doesn't require a physical store all the time. The rules have changed. Monopolies and dinosaurs, which lorded it before, are either much smaller or even closed because the way of doing business has changed because of all of these competitive factors that have changed. As a result of this, customers are now more powerful. Customers have increased buying power because they have access to information, giving them more choices and allowing them more voice to either complain or praise your product in social media or other platforms where it used to be they won't be heard. Now the consumer voice has increased so much. The customer is now a more powerful king. They were kings before, but because there's easy ordering from so many possible suppliers and easy to compare, then they have become more powerful. Now, companies have more capabilities too. They can go to the internet, go to niche magazines, and through mobile to reach customers or to be better than competition. So that has also increased. What is also different now is marketing has to be holistic. All marketing should cover the 3 C's. They should cover the customers and develop long-term relationships with customers. Marketing has also to address its internal customers, its employees. And marketing also has to take into account that competition is also communicating their own benefits and delivering performance. So in the end, today, the difference is marketing should be holistic, represented by this whole and a stick. Lastly, and this is how the reference textbook is designed, marketing should fulfill several tasks. First, it should develop strategic plans. Second, it should capture market insights. Third, it should connect with customers. Fourth, it should build strong brands. Fifth, it should shape market offerings. Sixth, it should communicate and deliver value. And seventh, it should capture long-term growth. So I love marketing in the 21st century. It's the same difference. What's same, it's still important to business success. It's still about meeting demands profitably, used for everything, involving everybody, but it's constantly changing. The difference is it still is about understanding and meeting needs, managing demands, stopping with brands. It needs to be holistic and it involves 7 tasks. Before, in 20th century marketing, 20 was good enough and can win. But in the 21st century, you really, really have to be on track and meet the bullseye because marketing is used for everything and involves everybody. It's changing all the time with all these technology changes and customer behavior changes, especially with the virus. It's marketing is also changing as customers become better, more powerful, and competition has increased, thus requiring a similar change in companies, requiring them to become better. Without an increase in company capability, the company will suffer a heart attack because there's an imbalance between stronger customers, stronger competition, and no change in the company. That's a easy recipe for a heart attack. If you recall, the STP is about segmenting, targeting, and positioning. But now, instead of just the 4 Ps, 21st century marketing is about positioning with brands. And when marketing communicates, it has to be holistic, addressing the 3 Cs. And what are the 7 tasks for marketing in the 21st century? It should develop strategic plans, capture market insights, connect with customers, shape the market offering, communicate and deliver value, and capture long term growth. So, our love story is about picturing and winning in a story. And what we should remember is like any other discipline, marketing has a lingo and a language that will help us understand the system and how it works. We try to make marketing more effective using this visual model, which is superior to just common sense. Hopefully, with the visuals, can be remembered forever and can make you, the brand called you, the brand with your name on it, so much better. This is the I Love Marketing Model, the 21st Century Edition, a visual interactive technique to help you master Marketing 101. This is V Coach Bong serving you with another easy to remember marketing model.